There are about to be some big changes coming to immigration in 2024. The first major change when it comes to immigration will have to do with deportation. What I'm referring to is expedited removals. So a lot of people who typically go to the border, they claim asylum, they may get a notice to appear in court and they'll have to wait for their case to be heard for months, sometimes years. That's not going to happen anymore. Now, expedited removals are going to be enforced like no other. The second major change has to do with asylum seekers. Typically, when you seek asylum at the border, you have to go through something called a credible fear interview. This is an interview where you basically talk to a border patrol officer and you explain your story, and you have to present and prove a credible fear of returning to your home country. Now, the problem with this process is that it's fairly easy to pass the credible fear interview, and that's why we're seeing such an issue with the border. The issue is that when you actually apply for asylum, either at the affirmative level in front of a USCIS officer, or if you're in removal proceedings and you're basically using asylum as a defense, it's a lot harder. It's nearly impossible to get approved. About 90% of asylum cases actually get denied at that level. So basically, we're allowing people in based on a credible fear that it's impossible for them to prove. So we're kind of just asking to buy people time, and then the government is really just knowing that they're going to deport these people 2, 5, maybe even 10 years later. Now, the third and final change when it comes to all these changes in 2024 is actually not a bad thing. It has to do with humanitarian parole. Humanitarian parole is a program that allows immigrants from specific countries to enter the United States temporarily because of specific conditions in their home country that are so bad. Now, the Biden administration has actually done a really good job at handling the parole process. He has actually increased a lot of programs for immigrants from Central and South America, specifically Ukraine, Russia, Afghanistan, etc. He has allowed over 300,000 immigrants to be legally paroled into the United States during his presidency so far. A big reason why Biden has increased so many parole programs is to address the border issue. Basically, all these changes in 2024 are addressing the major border issue. The fact that Border Patrol officers are letting immigrants in, knowing that they won't be able to stay or they won't be able to plead asylum effectively, and they're also letting people come in who could otherwise get status in their home country. The parole programs have allowed immigrants in their home countries to be able to obtain status without actually waiting to be approved at the border. Now, I know I touched on this a little bit earlier, but I really want to clarify this now. All these changes are trying to be implemented to address the issue at the border. And one of the basically biggest issues when it comes to immigration and immigration reform in the United States is that we don't have enough avenues and pathways to obtaining legal status from your home country. So because all these people are coming to the border because their home countries are so dangerous, they don't have the privilege of waiting 5, 10, and 15 years to get status, Biden has done so by creating these parole programs. So basically, if you live in one of these countries, you can obtain parole from your home country, come over here, and you don't have to wait weeks, months, sometimes even years at the border. Now remember, asylum is not a legal entry into the United States. I get so many calls from potential clients or friends of my clients calling me as an immigration attorney saying, hey, I heard about this asylum permit. It allows me to come to the United States. I can get a work permit. I can stay as long as I want. That is not how it happens. You're basically asking to eventually be deported unless you actually have a valid claim for asylum. How much misinformation I hear about asylum. It is very difficult to obtain. A lot of people come here not knowing that even if they pass the credible fear interview, they're eventually going to get deported. What I advise is seek out a consultation with an immigration attorney here in the United States so they could advise you of the risk of obtaining asylum before you actually pursue this avenue at the border. Now remember, y'all, I'm a licensed immigration attorney here in Texas, but because immigration is federal, I can help clients virtually and in person in all 50 states. So if you want to schedule a consultation with me, go to the link in my bio.